We want to start by quickly introducing the issue itself. And it all started after the Second World War when the new government of the People's Republic of China took over and the old Chinese government fled to Taiwan. At the time, the question was simple: which government should lead China? And then in the early 2000s, the Taiwan changed its stance to promote its independence from the PRC as their own cultural and economic and political entity. However, throughout time, the PRC's vision was always that there was only one China, and that meant that Taiwan certainly was part of it, and that is still the issue today. Now, why should Japan care? Japan has many unofficial ties with Taiwanese government and would suffer from losing those said ties. One of them is a shared cultural interest such as music and anime in the younger generation. They have shared values in terms of politics, such as democracy, capitalism, and liberalism. Japan has also an alliance with the United States, which wants to maintain regional stability in the Indo-Pacific. On Canada's side, Canada has some official and semi-official ties with Taiwan, one of them being an official trade arrangement for the avoidance of double taxation and the prevention of fiscal evasion. Taiwan is also part of the APEC and a possible candidate for a CPTPP, which is in Canada's best interest. Canada has also ties with the United States, with the NATO alliance, unlike Japan. Since Canada also is a capitalist liberal democracy, they also share politic values with Taiwan. In short, both countries would lose a potential ally in terms of their own interest, be it political, economic, or even cultural. Losing such a partner would even hinder further plans for economic growth in the region.
In September 2021, Taiwan submitted applications to join the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, set as CPTPP, which is a free trade agreement signed by 11 countries and is to lower barriers to trade in goods and services between member countries. In Taiwan, its economic level has been increasing and their GDP has been growing while the other countries, including Japan and Canada, are suffering to get its GDPs back to pre-COVID. One of the reasons they were able to maintain their economic level was because of their export value. It has been increasing, and in 2021, Taiwan reached the highest export value ever. More than half of their exports are electrical equipment, and due to the semiconductor shortage, which is still occurring worldwide, the values of semiconductors increased, and as a result, Taiwan, which exports them, became profitable. By accepting Taiwan to join the CPTPP, National Development Council Minister Kun Min-shin stated that they will likely boost 2% of their GDP. As I stated, the high-tech industry is well developed, especially in semiconductor and machinery manufacturing, occupies a certain position in the global market. At the same time, Taiwan's high-quality products can also enter CPTPP member countries and have the opportunity to become an international marketing brand. If Taiwan has joined the CPTPP, countries including Japan and Canada will have an opportunity to demonstrate leadership with the other major CPTPP countries. Furthermore, welcoming an economy like Taiwan that is an important global trader and a key player in global supply chains will add to the strength of the organizations. To sum up, what I think is needed for Japan and Canada to do at first is think together of how to deal with the situation where Taiwan is applying to join the CPTPP. Whether which decision is made, it will affect the future global situation, so it is important to have enough conversations behind the scenes. However, at any time, we need to make sure that the support Japan and Canada does is very delicate, maybe in other words, done in a secret manner.
Next, approach this issue from military and diplomatic perspective. There are 10 possible future scenarios. 6 scenarios are by David Lag. I'm actually not familiar with their names, however. So 6 are by David Lag and 4 scenarios by Michael Mangelson. 4 scenarios made by Mangelson, and those are negotiation basis. However, because currently, China and Taiwan have a different goal, and it is unlikely they sit down and have a negotiation to solve this problem. So shift a gear to 6 scenarios by David Lag, and all of them are include the usage of military forces or ending the issue with the war. Quickly introduce about Japan and Canada's stance for Taiwan. Canada clearly stated as Canada does not recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state and does not maintain official government-to-government relations with Taipei. Also, Japan, according to Kuriyama, he analyzed the joint communique of the government of Japan and the government of the People's Republic of China. Japan agreed and understand that issue as a issue between China and Taiwan, and Japan will not be in the discussion. However, when there's an armed conflict or the usage of military forces, then the story will be different, and Japan cannot hold a position at this point. So there's a possibility this issue goes in the wrong direction, and what Canada and Japan can do, or how can those two countries cooperate with. One way is two countries can create the scenario together. And the merit of this is the two countries can involve both countries' point of view, and by creating the detailed story and scenario, it embodies problem and how Canada and Japan should act to avoid a worst case scenario. Furthermore, based on that scenario, two countries can set a red line. By doing so, both countries can be on the same page and also have the same definition, such as what specific Chinese act will be considered as the beginning of war, or when it's necessary, the two countries can put pressure on China, and by doing that with two countries will be merit, because putting pressure by two countries can be higher pressure than doing so by the single nation.
Also, we can look from different perspectives. Even considering those scenarios, Japan and Canada are not likely to use military forces. Canada is a peacekeeping country, and Japan has been pacifist ever since Japan lost World War II. To promote Japan and Canada cooperation, we have to find non-military solutions so as not to provoke China. Canada is a founding member of APEC. APEC has 21 members, and their economies are responsible for more than 60% of global economic output and account for 47% of world trade. APEC has a broad agenda ranging from custom procedures, women's economic empowerment, mental health, and clean energy, and so on. In this regard, APEC serves valuable roles as an incubator of ideas, and it's strengthening the connection between members. Japan has a huge military budget following the United States and China. Japan has contributed a lot to this Indo-Pacific region. For example, Japan is leading a free and open Indo-Pacific initiative. Japan has a capacity building country. In fact, Japan supports some Asian countries by sharing knowledge and technology related to defense equipment. Then what can Canada and Japan do to keep peace in this region? One is strengthening the Canada-Japan relationship using the platform that we have today, like APEC or FOIP. More members get benefits from this region, less likely to destroy peace and connection between the neighboring countries. And as I said, APEC members count for a lot of global economy, and no country want to lose this economic impact. And also, Canada and Japan shared ideas and values, so we should promote rule-based international order without excluding some country, but should be more inclusive.
So to quickly wrap up everything, we consider Taiwan is an important issue in terms of peace and security in the Indo-Pacific for both Canada and Japan. We think that the best way to deal with the issue is for Canada and Japan to think together of accepting Taiwan to join the CPTPP, make scenarios and red lines for the issue together, and to avoid military action to strengthen the relationship by keeping peace together in this region. Thank you for your attention. We are ready for your questions.
Well, thank you very much. I've been impressed by this group and other group as well. So well, putting all the presentation together in such a limited time. I have tremendous respect to all your work. This topic is in a way very hot, especially considering what's been happening the last couple of days in the other part of your region continent in Ukraine. Yeah, give us lots of ideas to think. So you were talking about Canada, Japan putting pressure under certain circumstances, right? It wasn't clear to me under what circumstances you were talking about. So is that you want Canada, Japan work together to pressure on mainland China if they invade, or what kind of scenario were you talking about? Because there are several, about 10 scenarios. Do you want to do all those things in every possible things that you listed?
Actually, no. And my point was, so like there is 10 scenarios, but Japan and Canada should create the new one based on what both countries are think about to that issue. And based on that scenario, create the red line. And like I said, put pressure, but if it's necessary. So like red line is basically the line Canada and Japan start considering to use their own military power for like self-defense, or like if something goes wrong in case. That's what I meant by like putting pressure.
When you say Canada and Japan should consider scenarios, those are different from those 10?
It is different from 10 scenarios.
Okay, and then can you come up with some concrete example of what kind of situation?
Actually, it is very hard. But I would say, so the scenario started from like China, like mainland China will invade it's like a mainland of the Taiwan, or there's some little islands, like probably like the one closer to the China mainland. And when it started, they started like getting outside of Japan and Canada, but like those like Taiwan and US, like US might help, and the US have a alliance with Canada, and Canada will be involved, and like so like Canada and Japan have other alliance, and like Japan will be involved, and like those like start involving like the other countries. When China would invade, so David Lugg, the person who created this scenario, he used the word blockade, so like invading to the land and like kind of like isolate the land from the other countries. So like that means like there is the involvement of armies or like military forces, or like any kind of like it's kind of like starting the war, kind of.
If I can add something to what Yuki says, I think one important thing that is about us, this like Japan and Canada discussing about scenarios, is that things are quickly evolving. Like the situation in Europe is to be taken into consideration right now, because Russia and China, from what I understand, are having some discussion about alliances. So it's important for us to react to that too, and not just those scenarios that Leg created, since they might be a little outdated to the current situation.
We'll have to give our round of applause for our group 2. Thank you very much for your presentation on such a difficult topic.